Hey, still on the Candida awareness trail. This video is about what can you eat. I want to talk a little bit about change as well before I give you lots of ideas. Change it's quite simply the conscious mind versus the subconscious mind. If you have been spending every week thinking, right, on Monday I'm going to eat healthily and I'm going to go to the gym, but that is not what you have always done, then you have got conflicting views here of what's going to happen. And of course we know that at least 95% of our behaviour comes from our subconscious. So when you take your eye off the ball, you will always go back to doing what you always did, because that's the program, the pattern that runs. And that's genius. It allows us to do a lot of things and achieve a lot of things in life, but of course that very process can keep us stuck. So understanding that you have to change the patterns and your beliefs and your attachments to things is a powerful way to start. It doesn't matter what your goal is. The main thing you have to do is decide 100%, all in, no fanning around. I'm going to do this. So if your health has become an issue for you and you're really not feeling good and you're not thinking positively, then it's time for action. Don't wait. It's so simple to turn it around. So with the Candida diet, change is important, because if you're used to having toast for breakfast and sandwiches for lunch, and then, I don't know, maybe pasta at night, then you're looking at some quite dramatic changes to your diet. If you have already a fairly clean diet, just with a bit of bread in there, etc., a few odd wee treats, it's not going to be as much of a change. If you are a vegan or vegetarian, then you have to just adapt to life without sugar and grains, and I see that a lot of vegetarians and vegans eat a lot of sugar and grains because it's easy and it's everywhere. It's so easy to buy. So that's the first thing, is eliminating the sugar and the grains. That's the first thing you have to think about, and you've got to do it every single day for at least 3 weeks before you can really start to feel your energy. The digestive system gets this huge holiday and your energy can go back, and the healing takes place in the body, and you will start to feel quite amazing and vital in a remarkably short space of time. So what can you eat? If the paleo diet is super powerful, I mean, we're looking at things, if you're not a vegetarian or vegan, let's start with somebody who's a meat eater. You can, for breakfast for example, you can have lots of nuts and seeds. Nuts, we're scared of fat for a while. Forget about calories here, and forget about all your old-fashioned ideas about dieting. You will lose weight when this happens, for sure, because cutting out the sugar and the grains and allowing the body to digest the food that you're putting in and moving it through, the body just will absolutely organically just go back to the way it's meant to be. Yogurt, nice fresh probiotic, full fat, sugar-free, as natural as it can be, with some chopped apples, green apples, some plums or berries. You don't want to overload in the fruit, but you can certainly have some and it'll be fine. Again, don't make too radical changes, make it achievable. So that's a really good breakfast, and that'll keep you filled. As much nuts as you want. And seeds, lots of different seeds, full of your omega-3 and 6, and lots of fats and protein, because protein's the thing that's going to fill you up. You don't want to be hungry. So then omelettes, eggs in every description, with tomatoes, mushrooms, avocados. You do it the way you like, and it's always a good idea to boil a few eggs and just have them in your bag or at work, so that if you get hungry you've got something to snack on. Fish, another great breakfast with tomatoes and some salad, and of course juice. Make your fresh juice, put it in your blender and add in all your fats and your goodies, your nuts and your seeds, your yogurt, avocado, and really power it up. Wheatgrass, spirulina, anything else that you're adding in, psyllium husk, whatever it is that you're putting in, you can just put it into your smoothie, make a couple of pints and take that to work with you, and you've got a powerhouse of nutrition to snack and drink on. So that's your breakfast ideas. For lunch, it was a great time of year now, although we're basking in the sun here in Malta, but soups, stews, really simple again, and you can make enough for 2 or 3 days. Chicken soup, all sorts of bone broths, and putting in beans and lentils, So your legumes and your pulses can go in there to really beef it up. Some of your ancient grains as well that man hasn't been mucking about with, that the body can digest. So quinoa, bulgur wheat. Because again, you want to have a complete meal that you're not going to be hungry. If you can combine your proteins and your complex carbohydrates together, that stabilises the blood sugar and really helps the body to feel full and will sustain you for hours at a time. Casseroles, stews, soups, fantastic at this time. Obviously always big chopped salads, always have lots of veggies and in your fridge, because again, organisation is key. You want to have the things that you can eat in your fridge and just don't buy any of the other stuff. Even if your family are into it, it's a really good idea for the whole family to do this. Just say, look, for this 4 weeks, you have to support me till I get this out the diet, because if you start craving, and you might, this can be really challenging for some people. If there's a Candida, it makes you crave, and it can be a very, very strong addiction for alcohol, for sugar, for chocolate, for bread, and you'll just be like, I so want this. It can be overpowering, and that's when you use EFT. Look in the videos, you'll see to use the techniques to release that energy and that belief that you need the thing that's harming the body. So again, slow cooker's fantastic. Big pot, get all your soup on, get all your meat or your game, your fish, all organised so that when you come home from work, you have really healthy, nutritious options, because your food can harm you or heal you. That's the two things it can do. And if you're making your own food, it's free of all additives and chemicals and flavourings and all sorts of processing that we have done to the brilliant food chain that Mother Nature gave us. If you do it yourself, then you know for a fact what is in it. You don't have to trust anyone else. So that's, again, just make enough at dinner for your lunch the next day. I'm going to be talking to Lorna Willock, a very experienced nutritionist in the Borders. She's going to give you some ideas for people that really are breadaholics. Things that you can do that you can have that will substitute bread, because the one thing that we do know is that it's easier to replace a habit than to try and take one out completely and leave a space. So if you can find something, like somebody was saying to me yesterday, milk and sugar in their tea, find another way to make your morning drink. Coconut oil and coffee, delicious. Coconut oil and peppermint tea, delicious. Find a way for you to do it, replace it, get super organised, get all the shopping in, even if you shop online, so that you can just order it every week. I'm saying 4 weeks, you need to do it for longer than that, but within 4 weeks, your energy will be up and you'll be on it, and you'll see the difference in your body. You'll feel the difference and you'll be thinking differently, because there can be a lot of resistance come in when you start to make changes, and all the reasons why it's easier just to go back to doing what you always did. But if you truly see the vibrancy and the radiance that can come after only 4 measly wee weeks, then that was going to keep you on the track. And then it's a simple case of, you will understand when you put things in the body that weigh it down and slow it down and literally can bring it to a halt, then you can start to make the changes again, because it's like losing weight. And healing's exact same. You make the changes, you feel better, you go back to doing what you always did, you'll get exact same results. That's just the way it is. So that's lots of ideas for you. Snacks, the other thing I was going to talk about. So again, lots of nuts and seeds. Have them in your car, have them in your bag, have them in your desk at work. Obviously all sorts of veggie sticks you can have. Hummus, preferably again if you make your own dips. I'm sure you've got nice delis where you can buy ones that are absolutely for certain sugar-free and wheat-free, because honestly wheat has been snuck into everything. But it's really easy to make these dips yourself. I'm going to do a whole thing on soaking beans and chickpeas and legumes and turning them into raw dips. So soup, you do not need to miss out on delicious food doing this. Trust me, there's tons of amazing stuff you can do. It's just a case of changing your habits. So I hope that helps. If you get any questions, remember, if you want a free nutrition evaluation, just send me a message. Delighted and happy to support you, because it really makes me sad to talk to people who are not feeling good and not feeling happy, because I remember how that feels. It takes away years of a very, very valuable life. So don't suffer in silence. Let me know if you need help, and I'll chat to you soon. Ciao!